This video will serve as an orientation to any math program courses at Bellevue University. The first thing I want to do is take a look at just the general Blackboard format. All of the courses have the same format, should make it very easy to navigate once you get used to where to find everything. Next, we'll take a look at completing discussions, which generally accounts for anywhere from 10 to 20% of your overall grade in a course, and then how to view the rubrics for how many points you will get, and any feedback that I leave on those rubrics. We'll then take a look at how to complete assignments and tests. So for assignments, there are 3 different programs that you might use for homework completion. That's for Calculus 1, WebAssign, MA 205 and 206. For MA 315, Discrete Mathematics, we use McGraw-Hill Connect. And for MA 320, we use Pearson MyLab. In addition, there are other courses that don't have an online homework completion program. You are just asked to complete your homework with PDF, which you can do either using digital inking or paper and pencil. And your test will also be in PDF format. So even if you are taking one of the classes where your homework is completed in a homework completion program, you still want to watch a section on how to complete a PDF test, either using digital inking if you have a device that has a stylus like a Surface or an iPad and Apple Pencil and so forth, or if you plan to print assignments or tests and complete them on paper and pencil and then scan them back into PDF form. I also want to take you through how to meet with Professor B, that's me, how to do that, how to contact me, and then how to navigate using OneNote and Teams. Before we dive into any specifics, I really just wanted to give you an idea of exactly how each of your math courses are set up. So as you can see, I'm looking at a Calculus 2 course. All of the course structures are basically the same. On the left-hand side, you should have 6 tabs. An announcements tab, that's where I send your weekly announcement. Your syllabus, be sure that you read that for each course. That's where you can find the grade breakdown, how I grade, if I'm dropping any assignments, anything like that. We're going to talk more about the chat with Professor B and the team and OneNote later on in this video, so we're going to skip over that for now. But do be sure that you click on the course schedule. This one is set up for, I believe, 2022, but as you can see, it will be set up specifically for whichever course that you have. One thing to note about the schedule is anything in white is typically here's what I suggest you get done that day. I tried to highlight in yellow any assignments that are due. I don't highlight the discussions. Those are due the same day each week, depending on which class you're in. They might be Wednesdays, they might be Thursdays, or maybe some other day. And then, of course, I try to highlight exams in red or pink so that you can see exactly what you should expect. In addition to those 6 tabs that should be the same for each course, you should have a discussions tab. This one has a WebAssign tab as well. That's just obviously because MA 205 and 206 use WebAssign for homework completion. But everyone should have a discussions tab, and in the discussions tab I keep things very general. And then you should have 12 weekly tabs. So inside the weekly tabs, again, is a weekly snapshot of that course schedule that we already looked at, a little intro. This is basically what I put in your announcement each week. I just copy and paste and add anything else I need to. And then anything that you need to have done that week, any videos that you should watch, any discussion questions that you should complete, any homework, that will all be in each weekly folder. If there's any other resources that might be helpful, I try to put them down here somewhere. So for instance, in Calculus, CalcView is a great resource, and so I've hidden that down here as well. If you're in other courses, you might not have any resources down there, or you might have quite a few. That is the basic idea for all Blackboard courses for the math program. I want to start by showing you where to find the rubric for your particular course. There are 2 types of rubrics. There is the discussion rubric And typically you'll also have a rubric for any sort of project or presentation. In this course in particular, we're going to take a look at the discussion rubric and also the rubric for the individual project. So starting with the discussion, if I click on discussion 1, notice this is a post-first discussion forum, which means I can't see anyone else's posts until I post my own. And before I create a thread, I want to click on grading information. Grading information will give you a little box over here, and that box is where I can click to see the rubric. So for this particular course, there are 3 criteria that you will be graded on. The first is first post work, and that means that you have shown work to support your solution. Note that it says you need to show any work using the editor or picture of work from digital inking or paper. So if you're showing work just by typing, not a good idea. First post explanation, which means you haven't just posted work, but you've also explained what it means and how it answered the question that you were asked. And second post content is that you've had a mathematical conversation with your classmates, which means you've either helped them if they weren't quite where they wanted to be, or something else that furthered the conversation, as opposed to just saying, good job, I got that solution as well. So that is the rubric, and I'm going to go ahead and make a post here. And for my post, this is Forum 1, and it doesn't matter what you call it. Remember, I'm looking for explanation and work. So if I click on the Add Content button and I insert local files, I've created a screenshot of a very incomplete truth table that I've chosen for Forum 1. Again, this is for discrete math. I left it incomplete, obviously, because I wanted to not score very well on the rubric, and also I don't want to give away the answers. But note that this itself is a screenshot, and I can make that a little smaller if necessary. But I don't have any explanation. Obviously, I don't have the solution as well. But assuming I had a solution, all I have to do is click away from that box, and then I can type my explanation here. Others do like to include their explanation on the screenshot. Either one is just fine. So this is going to be my post, and I'm going to submit. Now, before I go back to instructor view, I'm going to go to week 12 and go to the individual project, because I want you to see what you will see to find the rubric, or how you can find the rubric if you have a project that includes a rubric. So note here, this is all of the information for my individual project, and right underneath points possible, it says view rubric. So this one's very easy to find. And again, you can see exactly what the criteria are, what I need to do in order to maximize my points. So that's a great way to maximize your points. Now let's talk about how to view feedback. So I'm not going to submit a project. I'm just going to exit this preview, and I'm going to keep the forum that I already completed. So now as the instructor, I would go down to grading, and I'm going to go ahead and grade. So obviously, when I grade this, I can either click on discussion rubric here or over here. Either way, I want to see the descriptions. So in this case, the first part is first post work. So did I show my work? Sort of. You get maybe 1 point for that. You started out right, but you didn't finish. So I would include some feedback. Good start, but fill in the table to ensure the equivalency is correct. And then obviously my explanation was no, because that's just gibberish, and I did not make a second post. So that's typically where I'm going to leave your feedback. I'm not going to leave feedback here generally, but I'm going to just so you can see exactly what it will look like. So as the instructor, I would save and submit. And now I'm going to go back to the student preview so that you can see exactly where to view your feedback. So going to your grades, Notice there's a couple of things. Down here, I see View Rubric, and that's where you will see any feedback from me. So notice you can see you had 1 point, and here was my specific feedback, and then 0 points here. And I didn't leave any additional feedback on those. And note here, I can see the no feedback here that I left. So quite often what students look for is just this little conversation bubble, and that conversation bubble is the feedback that I would leave as general feedback. But in general, what I'm going to do is leave that feedback on the rubric so that you can see exactly which category you got all of the points in or didn't get all of the points in, and so forth. So hopefully that gives you an idea of A, how to maximize points for any item that does include a rubric, and B, how to view your feedback once your submission has been graded. As you enter your assignment, as you can see, all of the questions that I will have to complete are here, and I can slide to see how many. So for this instance, there are 16 questions for homework 1, and this is for a Calculus 2 section. The questions where you're asked to show work will be easily identifiable because they will be worth more points than the other questions. So for instance, this is question 10, worth 1 point as opposed to the 0.5, and this is question 16, worth 2 points. The rest of them are worth 0.5, which means they're worth less than the others, and you won't be asked to show work. You also should be able to identify them. If I click on question 9, you can see that it's just asking me to find a solution. But if I click on question 10, which is a show work question, there will be a box that looks like this that says show my work required. The easiest way to show work is to upload a file. So I'm going to take you through how to do that. So for instance, if this was my question and I wanted to show work, typically I would open any sort of PDF annotator. This is OneNote. So you can use OneNote, you can use Word, you can use whatever you want. But the only file types that I will accept are PDF and a picture file, so PNG or JPEG. So as you can see, this is a question all done using 90 as the solution. So the question here is 60, so it's just a little bit different, but you can see this steps would be the same. And so I've done this using my digital inking, where I can write directly on the screen. And then the easiest thing to do is to just take a screenshot of that. So I'm on a Surface, but it's the same for any Windows and it's the same for any Mac. I'm just going to, for a Windows, I'm going to use my Surface Pen so I can take that screenshot and then save it. There is also a print option, and I can print to PDF, and I don't have that part shown on the screen. But if you get stuck on that, let me know. Same thing happens on a Mac. So if you're using a Mac, you can certainly do the screen grab option there. I don't remember the steps right off the top of my head, but if you Google it, you should be able to find it pretty quickly. So as I go back to my assignment, as you can see, I've uploaded a PDF, and I'm also going to upload the PNG because I want you to see, or sorry, JPEG. I want you to see what it looks like on the teacher side and why I will only accept PDF and JPEG. I do not want a Word file. Obviously Word does let you do digital inking, which is fantastic. And if you choose to do that, just then take a screenshot of your work from Word. Because if you actually upload the file, then it's a file I have to download. And so let me show you the teacher side. So on the teacher side, this is what I see. I see that the student got the correct answer, so I can see that this is obviously going back to 90 and not 60. I can see that this was the correct solution, and then I can see whatever the student submitted. So I have submitted both a JPEG and a PDF. So a JPEG, as you can see, opens just in my browser, and so does a PDF. It will open in my browser. So obviously this one has a lot of extra space, but that's okay. So notice both are nice and big. I can see all of the steps as the instructor, and if necessary, I can mark it up and return it to you. So if you were to upload a Word file, I would actually have to download the Word file and that just takes longer, and so that is why it's not acceptable. So that's the easiest way to do it. Again, when I took those screen grabs, I just saved it to my desktop, and then you just click and submit. Moving on to MA 315 Discrete Mathematics, this is what the student view looks like in McGraw-Hill Connect. And the first thing I want to point out is that on the left-hand side, you can see where you can purchase a loose leaf option for our textbook, or you can read the textbook online using the ebook. I would also point out that you should be able to find an older version of the Rosen text out on the internet somewhere, a PDF. I would suggest doing that just so that you have easier access to that textbook. On the right, you can see these are all of the assignments for the course. In general, it's about 5 points per section. So this first assignment over 4 sections will be worth 20 points, whereas this assignment will be worth 10 points because it only covers 2 sections. The other thing I want to point out on this page is that the due dates will reflect really the date following the date it is due. So this first assignment is due on March 18th. Notice it is open until March 19th at 2 a.m. That, of course, is to help out those students who are maybe not in Central Time Zone, but are maybe on the West Coast and are 2 hours behind. So everyone has at least until midnight on the day that it is due. If I click on this first assignment, you can see that there is a banner that says requires instructor grading. Whenever you have a question like that, that means that's a question that I am going to ask you to show work for, and I am going to grade myself. Those are worth a little bit more points. Whereas, say, I click on homework 8, or 9, and this particular homework assignment does not have any instructor graded questions. So let's go back and take a look at what an instructor graded question looks like. So I'm going to begin. Again, the first page is just going to give me the overview of the assignment. So it's going to say when it is due at 2 a.m. There are 20 points, there are 56 total questions, and there are unlimited attempts. So this is key. There is no reason for you not to earn 100% on every single assignment, or very darn near close to. You also have a resource of Check My Work that we'll talk about as we get started. So the very first question on any assignment that has an instructor graded question will be the question that I will grade myself. So for instance, this one says homework 1 file submission, and I'm going to download it and open it. This is my first question, and I need to complete this. Now, following this video, I show you how to complete this either using your digital inking or using paper and pencil. So I'm not going to go through that in this video. I'm just going to go straight back. This particular question has to do with section 1.4, but as you're working on this assignment, hopefully you're working on it throughout the week. I'm probably not ready for 1.4 question yet. I'm going to go straight to the 1.1 questions. So as I work through this assignment, and I'm not going to talk too much about, what the answers are, because obviously I want you to do that yourself. It's not going to show me, if I click next, it's not going to say I did it right or I did it wrong. So if you really, really, really need to know if you got it right, you can use the check your work function, but notice you only get to do that 3 times for the entire assignment, and there are obviously 56 questions, so you won't be able to do that for all of them. But I can check my work, and when I do so, it will tell me if I have things right or if I have things wrong. Again, I can work through all of the questions in this assignment, and I can even click on that little box that allows me to navigate to different questions. And this is super helpful if you have questions that you had to skip over because you weren't quite sure, and so forth. So once you have completed your PDF and completed all of the other questions, to submit your work, you're just going to choose File, and I'm just going to choose, I probably didn't have one to save, so I'm going to go back here, and I'm just going to draw on this, and then I'm going to save it as on the desktop. Now this is not the proper way to save, just so we're clear. On the next part of the video, I'm going to show you how to make sure that those annotations are flattened. But for this, for the sake of speed, I'm going to save it just like that. I saved it to my desktop. I'm going to choose my file, and I'm going to then submit that. Now, here's the important part. Make sure you click save. So notice I've chosen my file, but if I don't click save, then it doesn't actually save. Once I'm done with all of that, I can either save and exit. So if I save and exit, that means I've done some of the homework, but I'm not quite done. But I do want to make sure I save my results. So you click save and exit. Otherwise, you can click submit. Submit obviously is when you're done with all 56 questions and you are ready for everything to be graded. When you submit, obviously here it's telling me that I'm an idiot and need to finish my assignment. So don't be an idiot, finish your assignment. And I'm going to go ahead and submit. Now, I can see my results here that I got 0.33 out of 20 total points for this assignment, because on the first question, I don't know what I have. So it says pending, and it will say pending until the instructor, me, grades your assignment. For question 2, I knew I had it right. I only knew I had it right because I used the check my work option, and all of the rest of these I got wrong, but I can still take a look at them and it will give me some information about the solution. Now, because I have unlimited attempts, I can go back and do these questions as many times as necessary in order to get 100%. Now, it's not going to show that option for me because I'm a fake student, but you should be able to then click here and begin, and it should show attempts 2 of unlimited and 3 of unlimited, etc. So you should be able to go back and edit your results so that you get all of the points possible. I would like to take a look now at MyLabs and how to complete homework in MA 320 Linear Algebra. This is what the student view looks like. So I've already started homework 1. And you'll find a link for the homework in your Blackboard course. And as you can see, there is a little hamburger menu on the left, and I can use that to navigate to different questions. And one thing I wanted to point out here is that there are 2 questions with an SW next to them. Those are the questions where you are required to show work. So if I'm looking at question 1, 1 doesn't require me to show work. So I obviously haven't done this ahead of time. And I'm just going to type in an incorrect answer, probably because I'm just completely guessing. And notice it's going to let me check my answer. It's going to give me a little bit of feedback and so forth. I'm going to go ahead and skip. Now I can keep working on that question. I can do a help me solve this, view an example. There's all sorts of great resources available to you right there within MyLabs. I'm going to go ahead and go to question 6 because that's the first show work question. And I want to point out that the other questions are worth 5 points, but this question is worth 25 points. And you'll note that when you complete that question, it's not going to automatically grant you credit. So you might do really well on the assignment and the gradebook will show a 50% until I've had the chance to review your work. But let's go ahead and take a look at a show work question. So in this question, it says, do the 3 planes have at least one common point of intersection? Explain. So again, I haven't done this question ahead of time. Now this part is going to work exactly the same. So I'm going to just guess that they don't have a common point of intersection. Now notice this goes straight to final check. So it's going to make me check right away. It also has an option here to show work. So a good idea is to just take a screen grab of that question and put it into OneNote. And then you can use your digital inking device, or of course you are welcome to print out the question and do the question on pencil and paper. That's completely up to you. But then what I can do here, if I'm using digital inking, is go ahead and show all the matrices and what they end up being, and then choose whatever my option is. I, of course, would then do just a screen grab of this and save it. Now you can choose up here, that's wrong, I apologize. You can choose right up here to print, You just have to be a little bit careful with the print so that it doesn't go off to the right to a new page, but this would be just fine as well. I can print to PDF. I find it easier just to take a screen grab of this so I can use my snipping tool. And I would do all of this. So on that page, I would also explain what my solution is, just because it's easier to have everything together. And then of course, I could save this and then submit it. I'm not going to go through all of that work. I'm going to go ahead and pop back over here and go to show work. Now again, they do have a pen option in here, but it's really kind of wonky. I don't suggest doing it, and it's difficult to make things smaller or bigger. So instead, what I typically do, sorry, I'm trying to do this with my mouse and not with my pen or my trackpad. I typically would go to the insert image, and then I would choose that image that I didn't actually take. But you would have a screenshot image probably on your background. So I'm going to go ahead and save and just pretend that I, submitted work, and then go to final check. So obviously that one I guessed correctly. But again, when I'm looking at how many points I scored, even though it says, yes, I have it right, notice it still says 0 of 25 points, because you won't actually get those points until I go through and check your work and assign you however many points you get out of those 25. I want to take a look now at how to complete a homework assignment and an assessment using a PDF and your digital inking. So I am currently in a MA 405 course, Modern Geometry. And at the bottom of the week 1 folder is homework 1. If it's a homework assignment, you should see the PDF right here. I'm just going to click on it and open it. Whereas if it is an assessment, you'd have to click on the assessment, begin the assessment, and click on the question to begin that assessment. Either way, if you'll notice, it opens up a PDF file. So the process that I'm going to go through is exactly the same. So I'm just going to stick with the fake assessment. And notice it says practice by writing some mathematical symbols like the limit as x approaches infinity of x squared. So make sure that you know that you can zoom in or zoom out. So if you feel like you need to zoom in to write, you can do that. I am currently using limit as x approaches infinity of x squared. And I'm using a Surface device and the Microsoft Edge browser. So Surface and the Microsoft Edge browser obviously work very well together. I do like Microsoft Edge because when I set it as my default, it opens the file. I'm able to draw on it immediately. I can continue to save it as I'm working, call it something like fake assessment. You can see I've already done this a little bit. And again, I can continue working and continue working and continue working. So I can keep drawing, I can write whatever I need to write, I can zoom in if I need to, fit more on the page and so forth. So when you are done with your assessment, the important thing is to make sure that you flatten your annotations. So if you're using the Edge browser, then you're going to go to print and print to PDF, because by doing that, it makes it so anything that you have drawn stays on the paper. So I'm going to go ahead and print, and then again, I can save it this time as fake. Now, if I'm using something like Drawboard, I can also there isn't a flatten annotations option. So I've already done this. I've opened up the fake assessment. I can draw on it, and then I can go over to the left and click on annotations and flatten annotations. And let me show you why that's important. So I've just flattened my annotations. Now, if I submit this file and then the instructor, myself, opens it up and then starts to grade it, so I'm going to use yellow, and let's say I'm giving you feedback and I mess up, which I do often, and then I erase. Notice that the only thing that's erasing when I'm taking my eraser over the whole screen is only the yellow, so it doesn't erase any of your markings. So if I start grading your paper and then I mess up and start erasing your work, it makes it very difficult for me to do my job. So that's why you must flatten your annotations. Again, all you would do then is go back to your course. And for an assessment, again, you would browse your local file and choose from the desktop fake. That was the one that was flattened. Or again, I can go back to the week 1 folder and to the assignment. And again, I can just click on browse local files and then choose fake. So doing that allows me to submit my work from the PDF. And that's all there is to it. If you don't have a device that allows for digital inking, or you just feel more comfortable doing this on pencil and paper, feel free to complete your homework and tests in that way. I'm in the MA 405 Modern Geometry course in the week 1 folder. At the bottom of the page, again, is the homework and assessment. Just as before, if you're going to take an assessment, you'll actually have to begin the assessment. Of course, you should have read all of those instructions. And click on the PDF to open that PDF. And then, of course, just print it out to complete it. If you're doing a homework assignment, I'm going to leave that page. If you're doing a homework assignment, you can get to that PDF directly on that page. Again, and then I would print and complete. The difficult part comes when you have to scan it and turn it back into me. If you have a PDF scanner that you enjoy that turns it into not a picture file, but an actual PDF, and puts multiple pages into one file, feel free to use it. If you don't, or you're not really sure, feel free to use the Office app on your phone. So on my phone, I have the Office app open. I'm going to go back home. At the bottom, let me do that again so you know where I went. Down here at the bottom, I'm clicking on the plus, and I'm going to click right in the middle where it says scan. And I'm going to pick up my phone, and you can see I have a PDF that I've completed just one question on, and it's not great because my printer is out of ink. So obviously you would make sure that didn't happen to you. Now I want you to note that I can see the shadow from my arm, and that is not ideal. So don't give me a scan, please, that looks like this. Do what you have to do to get another light into the situation so that you can actually see what's going on. So again, this isn't great, but you get the idea. You would do your best to make sure that that looked correct. So that's one page. And again, this allows me to fix my corners if I need to fix my corners and create a nice rectangular PDF. I'm going to confirm, and that's page 1. If I need to add a page 2, notice down here in the bottom left, there's an add, and I can click add, and I can capture again a document. And then I can confirm. So now I have 2 pages. Notice here it shows 2 pages. So I'm going to click on that, and oh, I did a really bad job on that second one, but you get the idea. I would obviously fix that before submitting. And confirm. And then I'm going to click that little button so that I can see that I have my 2 pages, and done. And then right here down in the middle, I'm going to click Create PDF. And here I'm going to create this PDF. I'm going to go to Save As, and I'm going to change the file name to, in this case, Fake Assessment. And then make sure you spell it right. And then I can save it wherever I need to save it for my OneDrive at Bellevue University. Then back here for my homework, I would simply browse my local files. I already have OneDrive set up on my computer. I can then browse my local files and submit that. So I would go to my desktop and submit. You get the idea. I don't think that was the same file, and this was not going to let me submit just because I'm not a real student. I'm a teacher, so it's not going to let me do it, but you get the idea. That's exactly how I would scan multiple files into just one file and then submit. If you would ever like to meet with me one-on-one, whether that is because I've asked you to because you're a new student and we haven't met yet, or you just need to sit in front of me and ask me some questions about your course content, or anything in between, if you need to set up a one-on-one appointment with me, you are welcome to do that. If you click on the Chat with Professor B tab in your course, it's going to take you to my bio, my email, my work phone, which I don't actually work from my office right now. I'm working from home. It also gives you a Google Voice text option, so you can shoot me a text. If you do so, obviously know that I don't know who you are, so you would have to say, "Hi, this is Joe from your calculus class," so that I know who I'm speaking to. But you can certainly text me and ask me a question. That's a really great way to do it because I'm more likely to be able to help you more quickly, particularly if you attach a picture of your work or something like that. But again, if you need to actually speak with me one-on-one, you can book a meeting. So you can click on 15-minute meeting, and it's going to give you all of the options that are available to you on whichever day. So notice I've got availability Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. On Tuesday, again, you can choose the appropriate time. On Wednesday, I try to make a little bit of time in the evening. Thursday, it's back to the normal daytime. If you need to meet with me and none of these work for you, then you should probably shoot me a text and ask me if I have any availability and give me an idea of the time that you are available. These meetings, when you set up a meeting with me, will ask you your name, your email, and then you will choose between either Microsoft Teams or Zoom, whichever you're more comfortable with meeting. And then you will schedule the event. It will send me a meeting invite, and it will schedule or send you a meeting invite as well. So feel free to do that whenever you need to throughout the term, no matter which course you are taking. I wanted to give you a very brief overview of OneNote as well. So again, in your course, you should have a link that takes you to our OneNote notebook. Now this is going to open it up online, but you're going to want to open it on your computer for full functionality. So just click on Open in Desktop app. So I'm going to go ahead and open it, and sorry, I've made this sort of a small window, and the reason I've done that is because right underneath this are student names, and I don't want to violate any, HIPAA laws or FERPA laws. So again, you will be added to this notebook, and anything in the welcome page, anything in the content library are things that you as a student can access, but that you cannot quite edit. And I say quite edit because you will be able to edit if you copy to your own notebook. So for instance, let's say you're just getting started in MA 205, which is Calculus 1. In the MA 205 page, I have all of the Chapter 1 notes, and Chapter 2, Chapter 3, Chapter 4, Chapter 5, because those are the 5 chapters that we cover in Calculus 1. Now, these are the notes that go along with the videos that I've created. Same thing for MA 206, Chapters 6 through 10. Again, you can see that these are the templates that I used when I recorded your videos. If you would like to copy these to your notebook, all you have to do is click on the section and go to Move or Copy, and then you're going to choose your notebook, and you're going to choose where you're going to copy it. So I'm going to choose Teacher Only, and then where you can't see, there is a little thing that says Copy. And basically it's going to take that and copy that to your individual notebook. Once you have those items in your individual notebook, so I just copied that to teacher only, and you can see there, I've clicked on MA205 and teacher only. Now I'm able to edit any of these. So again, I can use my digital inking to take notes right on the screen as I'm watching the videos. So that's a great way to use OneNote. Another way to use OneNote is to just create your own separate page or own separate section, and then you can do your scratch work there as well so that it's easy to find. The last thing I want to show you is how to use Teams. Teams is just a really great way to chat with your classmates, chat with me in a way that nothing is graded and it's very informal. So it's not a requirement that you use Teams, but a lot of my students really enjoy it, so I continue to provide it. Again, in Teams, you have access to that class notebook, the same class notebook that we just talked about. Sorry, not class notebook. You'd have to click on OneNote notebook. That's going to take you to that same notebook that we just talked about. But most of the time, people just use the posts section and click on new conversation. And then you can start typing a message, but typically I start with the @ symbol, and then I can type @MA315, and that's going to allow me to choose MA315, all of the people enrolled in that course, and then I can type whatever message I want. If I click on this format, it also allows me to press enter or return, and then say I could add a screenshot of my work. So quite often what you'll see is someone say homework help, and then say I'm stuck on this question. And then they'll include a screenshot of their work, and then other people can help out. So again, that's a really great way to just reach out to your classmates that's not in the discussion board, which people aren't always notified about. In general, people get notifications from Teams much more quickly and are able to help out much more quickly.